Good evening, everybody. This is Dolores Cannon with the Metaphysical Hour. And we're sure getting close to Christmas. That's what everybody's thinking about that, but it'll be here before we know it anyway. And they said on the news they're going to have a horrible snowstorm out in the east around Washington. So at least right here where we are in Arkansas, we don't have that yet anyway. It may come, but at least not yet. Okay, tonight we're just going to be talking. I'm going to still go over some of the things that we covered before that I didn't get to finish. But if anybody wants to call in, they're welcome to do it. The toll-free number is 1-888-815-9756. 888-815-9756. Anybody's welcome to jump in because we're just going to talk about several things. Okay. And Julia's here again.
Hello.
She's pretty good at helping out with some of these things because sometimes she'll get inspirations that add to the show, really.
If they step in, they step in. So.
Okay. But we have been talking about the 3 waves of volunteers, and I said before that has really gotten a tremendous response. Now, Julie, do you know any more about the website?
Not yet. No, I think they're still working on it. But I believe it's something like the 3 waves or something. But they're working on making it more visible. It was in a place that was really hard to find, so they're working on getting it in a better place.
But it's on Facebook.
Yes.
It was on Facebook?
I do believe so, and it's just a matter of, we'll know it pretty soon. We'll have it all figured out. So.
Because you said that somehow it was hard to navigate the Internet to get to where you put it.
Yes,
And we want to make it more visible because we had so many emails from people saying, how can we talk to others out there who are like us, who don't want to be here and feel lost and they want somebody to talk to and just share things with. And I think it'll be a big help because you're really not alone out there. There are hundreds and thousands of you.
Right.
But people are just afraid to talk to each other about it or talk to other people about it because they're afraid people will think they're weird.
Well, aren't we weird?
No, we're the normal ones. What is normal anymore, anyway?
Yes.
How about I get clients all the time, they're afraid to tell anybody about their paranormal experiences, even seeing ghosts or having psychic visions or what they think are UFO abductions or any little things even. They're afraid they'll be considered strange, and they're afraid to tell their neighbors or anybody.
Don't take yourself so seriously. Yeah, it's okay.
I think a lot of times if they told somebody, they'd be surprised. The other people have probably also been having strange experiences that they've hidden, and they're afraid to tell people. So there's a lot more of you out there than you think.
Right.
Because I have them come to me, and they'll say, well, there's some things I want to talk about and tell you that happened to me. I haven't been able to tell anybody because they're going to think I'm crazy. And they said, but if I tell you, you're probably going to think I'm crazy too. And I said, well, go ahead. I hear so much. And then they start telling it, and they said, you mean this is not freaking you out? And I said, no, I've heard it before. So at least it makes them feel like they're not alone in the world.
Right.
All kinds of weird stuff about other dimensions and everything. I think everybody's got a strange story to tell if you just you present it first.
Well, and as this veil keeps thinning, and like what you were talking about, that incident over Norway was because of the thin veil, it was able to be seen, and you can explain that here in a minute. But it's like, I think as that keeps happening, we're going to be seeing more things. We're going to be feeling and having more things happen, even if you're not one of these 3 ways in general, because we're all changing. The ones that are chosen to move on with everything, we're all changing, so we're all having some really cool, unique experiences. So, you know, everything can happen. So, I mean, all kinds of things can make you think you're going bonkers.
But the psychic abilities are returning. We've always had psychic abilities. They've always been there. We were born with them. That's part of our normal makeup. But, you know, with the way humans are, it just gets pushed aside when you're a child, the parents and everybody said, no, don't talk about anything like that to anybody. They'll think you're crazy, think the devil possessed you. And so instead of talking about, gee, Mommy, I remember when I was the mommy and you were the baby, things like that, or I saw something in my room last night, they just tell them, don't talk about it, and they push it aside. So a lot of us have it, but we've just buried it. But it's coming back. These abilities are starting to surface right now.
Yeah, we're reconnecting to what we had before, and then it's building on top of that. So it's like you have your natural, whatever was there before, and then it's going to keep getting more and more and more as we get used to it, and that becomes our new norm. Then we'll have more things uncover, and I think it's cool. I mean, it's like, what else? Come on, bring it on. So.
Yeah, because a lot of it, after the more you use it, and it's like riding a bicycle, the more you practice it and use it, then it becomes more and more natural to where it won't bother you after a while to have these intuitions and feelings and things.
No, it becomes very natural. And, I mean, at the beginning, it's natural to question. It's natural to question everything about it because we are a society that has to prove, and we don't just believe stuff just for the sake of believing it. We have to have it all quantified and qualified and everything. So I think it's a natural step we go through to discern and to make sure it's okay. But then once you get through that and you get to the trusting part, then you just know. I mean, and it's actually, it goes from a thing of, okay, I know this is real and I know this is, you just know that you know that you know, and you're not really sure why you know. You just know. And it's just something that becomes second nature. And it's like, well, of course it is. And, you know, and don't know where it came from.
But you get so used to doing it that it doesn't matter if somebody else doesn't do it or not. It's yours.
Right.
Just use it.
Right.
But it is becoming more and more natural, and more people are waking up to these things.
Yes.
And I think that's very important.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, what you were talking about, that spiral over in Norway, I don't know if a lot of people saw it on TV or not, but I thought it was really beautiful. They had it on CNN, and it looked, against a black sky, it looked like a galaxy. The way you see the galaxy from a distance, it was spinning. It was actually moving, and it had a center and all the arms going out just the way a galaxy looks. And it was really beautiful, and it had a beam shot down from it. And they were calling it a spinning wheel. And they were saying the astrologers, astronomers, the scientists, nobody knew what it was. And first they were saying, well, they were blaming it on the Russians, that maybe the Russians had shot a missile off, and that's what it was. How many missiles has Russia shot off, and they've never had an effect like that before. But nobody knew the explanation. Then I think it was a few days later, they came out and said that's what it was. Russia shot a missile off, and that's all it was.
I think they said it was a misfire or something. It was something happened with this missile.
And that's what made it have this beautiful spiral effect. Well, I just did Dr. Valerie's show just a few nights ago, and she's also with VBS. And she brought this up. And she said from what she was getting is that was just a made-up story. You know, they're always trying to quiet people down. Don't ask too many questions. Don't ask. You know, don't make waves. It was a made-up story to calm people down. And she said what she was getting, it was a portal, because she said she's seen these things before, where there were portals that open up. And she said if that was a huge one, it would have been big enough for a whole fleet of UFO ships to come through. It was enormous. But there again, the dimensions are becoming so close to our Earth that the veil is thinning, and we're seeing them more. I think
this is a glimpse of what we will maybe start seeing and start. I mean, really, let your imagination go with this as to what would be. All these things are laying all around us, and there's so much around us that we are not privy to because of our limited vision. And then, okay, this lifts and we can see through, let's say, several dimensions and stuff. I don't know if there'll be any limit or what, but let's say we can. Just let it go wild with your imagination. What's possible? That is one thing, you know.
It was just beautiful. But, yeah, there may be that we're able to see the doorway into the next dimension for the first time. It's always just been invisible. And for those of you who don't know what portals are, I've written about them. I think it was in Convoluted Universe, Book 3, about portals and windows. And a portal is supposed to be something you can go through, you can travel through, to go through time or go into another dimension. And this is the way the ETs travel. They go back and forth through portals and through dimensions. They don't have a certain kind of fuel for their craft to go so many miles an hour to get out to that next star. It's done with lowering the vibrations and frequencies of the craft, just like in Star Trek when they just say, engage, and there they go. Right. But the people have gone back and forth through these portals also, and they're used for time travel and for interdimensional travel. But that's a portal. There's also windows. You can go through a portal, but a window is one that you can see through into the other dimension, and people have reported things like that that are very weird. But you can see through, but you can't travel through. And in one of my sessions, it was interesting. They said they had portals that you would move, and I didn't know you could move a portal. I thought it was stationary in one place. Right. And they said, oh, no, we can move them if we have to. So I'm always learning something new, that it is possible to move a portal from one place to the other. But these things are happening all around us. We just don't know it because we're so concentrated on our physical, concrete world that we can see. But they're there, and that's why I think it's happening. The veil's thinning. Things are changing so much with the vibrations and frequencies. Maybe now we're going to be able to see these portals. Exactly. And that's exciting because that's like a glimpse of what we're going to be seeing. You know, it's just. Dr. Valerie thought this must have been a huge one. So we'll have to see now what that means. But it makes sense. The government's always trying to cover things up. They're so afraid that things are going to freak us humans out if we know what's really happening out there. But they don't realize they're dealing with a new human, an evolving human. And we're not going to be frightened by the strange. No, we don't get scared so easy. And that's the biggest thing. I mean, see this as exciting. This is exciting. We're on the front row. We have front row seats to, that's why we're here. We have front row seats to this whole huge theatrical thing here, We asked to be here. And I don't want to get scared and hide in the closet, and hide in the whatever to not see it. We came here to see this and to experience it. So let's get excited and be happy about it. Because I've had so many strange things that people have told me. And then when I tell them about dimensions and frequencies and things, it makes them feel better because they understand maybe this is what it is. Right. We don't have the answers to everything. No. But at least we're still searching, and there's a lot more out there than we know. Well, we can't define things by what we have always known. I think right now, especially, we're moving into a whole unknown area, and so it's really, that's what it's like, just kind of stay open, and that's where fear comes in, is we're trying to hold on to what we know, but we really have to let go of that, because that's, I think you'll have an easier time with everything by letting go of your expectations or your things that worked in the past, because it's all new now, and it's just, and you kind of throw it out the window and then just go with it, just flow and just go with it. See, that's what they've told me. One of the big things you have to do now that things are changing and we're moving into the new earth is to let go of fear. Absolutely. Fear is a paralyzing emotion. It's the strongest emotion a human has, and if we don't understand something, we're going to be afraid of it. But the idea is to let go of fear and ask questions, ask lots and lots of questions. Like here again, the government, like with this other things, they tell you things. A lot of the things they'll tell you is to make you afraid, to hold you in fear. And you've got to start thinking for yourself. Ask questions. If it doesn't make sense, ask lots and lots of questions and make up your own mind. And that's the biggest thing, make up your own mind. If it still doesn't make sense, if you can't accept it, don't. Don't worry about it. Yeah, exactly. Don't worry about it. Just let it go. It's not the truth for you, whatever it is. Make sure you keep going until you find your truth.
And you will.
Your truth may not be my truth, but at least it's something you have come to with your own investigations. And then it can change. It can change months later or a year later. You might find something else that you believe in.
Yeah, because we're constantly changing.
We're evolving, and this is fine.
That's what I meant by don't hang on to some of these. If it worked back here, it doesn't mean necessarily, and it probably did work. That doesn't mean it's any less valuable if it doesn't work here. It's like, it's okay. It worked back there. That's why it had its purpose. Now you're in another place. That's the evolving process.
What we learned as a child doesn't serve us now.
No.
We've grown. We move on. What I knew as a child, that child wouldn't understand me at all now because we're the same person, but yet we have changed and moved on.
No, but the child brought you to where you are.
That's true.
It was a very important part to get you to where you are.
Yeah,
so.
That's why you can't go backwards.
No, and that's why you also can't deny, that part of you. I mean, it's a part of who you are, but you have added on or thing, but there's no reason to stay with that one because it doesn't have all the answers anymore.
No, and we grow and we evolve. This is some of the people that come to me are still holding on to things that happened to them when they were a child, things that were done to them. And we all have things that are not pleasant. We all have bad things that happen because that's life. And some of the clients they're holding on to things that happened when they were 3, 4, 5 years old, and they've never let it go. That's not good because you have to release it. You have to let it go. It's the only way to move on. You can't have anger about something that happened way back there.
Right. And we're not saying, it might be very, very traumatic. It doesn't lessen, we understand it could be very, very traumatic. That doesn't lessen that at all. It means put it in its place. It brought you to where you are. Again, it had its place. You had a reason for it, Learn from it and move on. Let it go.
Release it, let it go. You have to forgive the people involved. That's one of the things people tell me, I can't forgive them. You don't know what they did to me. But you're only hurting yourself. You're not hurting them. And many times, some of the clients I see are older, and all the characters are dead.
Right.
And they're still holding on to this. But that happened way back then.
I wonder if it could be it's a fear also, because if they let go of that, then it's an unknown. Now, they know what they're dealing with by holding on to that, and then it's maybe a fear of, well, if I let that go, then what? Then what do I have to worry about, or what do I have to deal with? It opens everything up for them.
But it can be the beginning of a whole new life.
It absolutely is, but that can be scary to some people if they like to hang on, and that's where they have to let go. If you really want to move forward, and so this is about the conscious releasing, conscious creating, conscious movement, rather than just living your life on autopilot. We're into a point now of you make every step consciously. We are moving consciously. It's not all by accident anymore. We are very much aware of what we're doing, and if you're not yet, you will be, and that's where we are. It's all about that.
And it is about releasing, letting it go, and moving on. And I know it's not easy. We've all had bad things happen, but I always tell people, what did you learn from it? You look at the bad experience. What did you learn from it? If you learned one thing, that was the purpose of it. That was the reason.
Absolutely.
And if people say, well, I didn't learn anything, well, then you're going to have to go through it again.
Well, they're not looking, obviously, because it happened for a reason. But, if you're still carrying around the drudgery of it, no, you probably didn't learn from it. But it's not too late. You can still go back into it and look at it from a different point of view and find out what it was teaching you and stuff. And you're in a different vantage point now. You can probably learn it real fast and easy.
Yeah.
But, you have to figure it out, or definitely you'll be back. You'll be revisiting it.
Because I have clients that have drawn the same circumstances again and again and again in their life, and they don't realize it's because they haven't figured it out. Once they do, they say, oh, that's what it was trying to teach me. Now I got it.
Yeah.
Then they can move on.
Well, that's that being conscious of it. See, they were acting unconscious. Now,
the poor world, look what the world is doing to me. Look what God is doing to me.
Or the fact that they're going through several lives, still doing it the same way. That's just that's living unconsciously. Now they've chosen, by coming to you or anybody or getting this awareness, I want to know where this is coming from and what I can do about it. Now you're conscious about it, and now you make movement. And it's like,
because many of these people, this is what's making them sick. It's causing all kinds of illnesses. And why drag all that old junk and baggage and garbage around with you? It's better to get rid of it and move on.
Well, like I said, that's part of the ascension. Part of this whole thing we're doing is to lighten up, lighten up, lighten up. Well, you can't lighten up and carry a barge with you, you know, and all these chains and bags and all that stuff. You have to let them go to be able to move up. So.
Yeah, but this is all part of what we have to do now, and they've told me to tell this to the world, and that's what I'm saying it in all my lectures now. This is getting rid of karma.
Absolutely.
Now is the time. No more karma.
And it can be rid of very quickly now. I mean, it doesn't have to. And that's, I think, what some people, I mean, once they come to this realization, to this point, then all you have to do is just that releasing and that forgiving, and it's, you know, you can wipe it clean very quickly. You know, we're in a really cool time right now.
Yeah, it used to be, it could take lifetime after lifetime.
Yes, but now it's, I mean, it's all done within a very short period of time.
Well, look at even 30, 40 years ago, we were dragging all this stuff around with us, and it just took so long. But now, it's time to let it go.
Right.
Because we're moving into something truly fantastic. And you won't, the whole world is out there waiting for you, and you're not going to be able to step out and enjoy it and find what your path is as long as you're hanging on to this ties to the past.
Well, and I think the only reason you're hanging on to it is because you're unconscious. I think as soon as you become conscious, you let that go because you realize you have to do it to do this. And, you know, so it just becomes, it all kind of just steps into place. So if you're still hanging on over here, it's because you're not aware yet of the whole process or what's there, because it's just a natural process of it.
And I was just thinking, too, a lot of these people, they have these people in their life who have been causing them all this torment all their life, and they're still there. That's because they haven't figured it out.
Right.
As soon as they figure it out, what that person is there to teach them, because that's all it is. They're put into your life to teach you.
Let's go one step further. You put them in your life.
You did. Unconsciously. You don't know it, but before you came into the life, you set up the circumstances, and they agreed to come in to be a mirror, to be a test.
Yes.
And I had that just a few days ago in one of the sessions. They said there were certain people put into this person's life to act as tests for them when they came along. Of course, they didn't know it. They didn't realize it at the time. But they're people that crossed our paths. And, of course, the longer they stay in our life, then the longer they're there to test us.
Test us or to teach us.
To teach us. But then when you understand it, those people will drop out of your life.
Right. Yeah, because there's no more reason.
They're not necessary anymore. Then you're ready to move on to the next lesson, which may or may not be easier. It may be harder, but at least it'll be different.
One of your best ways to know, now, as far as a test, that's kind of I guess they're both the same, but it's like you watch your reaction. And when you see that you're, one, reacting, because that's your indicator right there, it's like, what is it that it's bringing up? Because that's stirring emotions, that's stirring something from within. And so then it's like, okay, and then you just flip it around, and that's just like, okay, what are you trying to teach me? And it's out of that reaction that you can kind of see what's happening here. And you have to get real objective and real conscious about it.
All emotions removed.
All emotions removed, yes.
Instead of reacting is, okay, why is this person pushing my buttons?
Right. What is it about this situation? What is it you're trying to tell me? And if you have to pull way out, sometimes you have to get way away from it to be able to see it. You know, you may have to go out to the outer realms of the universe, I don't know, to be able to really get a good objective view of it.
Yeah.
Do whatever you have to do to see it, and the sooner you can do it, the better, because then you just move through that one faster, you know? I mean, it doesn't really matter how long it takes. It's just up to you and how long you want to take and live with this situation. But, Yeah, as soon as you figure it out, it does. It dissipates or it moves into a whole other scenario. Either that person will leave or they will move into a different role in your life where they don't do that anymore,
But if you no longer react, and I know this is not easy for some people.
It's not.
But if you no longer react, they get tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not causing a reaction because to them it's a game.
Well, once you figure out why you were reacting and you deal with that, then you won't react because now you know the trigger in there. And so there's no more reason. That was the only reason for the reaction was to get you to look at it and figure out what the whole thing was about. And so that's your best indicator. What was your reaction? And if you have a volatile reaction, okay, this is a big thing. This is something you got to deal with, If this person's right in your face, to show you. And it's usually a big mirror. So, one of my things, I just talk to my higher self, what do you want me to know? If I can't see it well enough.
From the situation?
What is it you want me to know? In anything, really, but that's another one. It's like, okay, what are you trying to tell me? What are you trying to teach me? Because that's where it's coming from. It's obviously you trying to teach yourself something. So,
but the majority of us are just bogged down in, oh, poor me, I'm the victim. The victim
well, that's
role.
Number one, to stop that stuff.
Yeah, the victim role, and the whole world hates me, and everybody's out to get me, and all of this.
What's that one? Nobody loves me, everybody hates me, I might as well go eat worms. Something like that. My daughter used to say that as well.
That's where you got it. Okay. I was wondering where it came from.
Poor me. I'll have a pity party.
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't get you anywhere.
Oh, I've had people sit on my couch in my office and go on and on and on, and they want you to pity them and feel sorry for them.
Well, it got them, they get stuff from it. So
yeah, but it's time to stop all of that.
That's the unconscious living.
Yeah. It's time to stop it all because we're moving into a whole new thing. Mm-hmm. And when you do, boy, you'll see your life change. Mm-hmm. But to some people, that's scary.
Well, that's what I meant by, that's what's scary about letting go of it because it all changes or it all opens up. And it's like, oh, I liked it better when I was confined in my little pity party,
That's familiar. Mm-hmm. But the rest of the world out there, I don't know. And they don't know what's out there. So some people, it can be scary. It's better to hang on. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I'm trying to give you something to think about anyway.
Yes.
That's what I do with my clients. And whenever they're telling me all these things, I said, well, did you ever think of looking at it this way? And it's not criticizing. It was just that they get so caught up in that viewpoint, they haven't even thought of looking at it from a different direction.
You really have to look at it from a different direction. You have to look at it from the other person's viewpoint, or better, the best yet is above and totally objective of everything and look at the whole thing from every angle and then see what it's teaching everybody, because it's having repercussions and ripple effects and everything all over the place. So it's like, what is it? Why did we all create this?
We did.
I had somebody talking to me yesterday, and
she gets a lot of phone calls too at the office.
and he was saying something to that effect of, well, this other person, it's like he was understanding the idea that he had created this to learn something from, but he then it was another stretch of his mind to realize that the other person also created this, and then on the other level they were both deciding to play this little dance together to both learn from it. And he was like, oh, and it's like, because there's a lot of orchestration going on in this. It's like on the other level you're going, okay, I want to learn this. Now who wants to help me with this? And if somebody else has a similar lesson or whatever, somehow it's all orchestrated, and we all agree to help each other out and come in here and do these things, and then we're all learning whatever it is we want to learn from it, and play our games and have our dances.
It's just a game. Mm-hmm. That's what I always tell people. It's just a play on the stage. We're all actors dressed in our costumes to play this part. That's all your body is. It's just a suit of clothes, your costume. We're all playing our parts, and we're writing our script,
As we go, a lot of us.
Yeah, we're the producer, the actor, the scriptwriter, the director of our own play.
So why don't we make it good?
I don't know, we can.
Yes, exactly.
But we're writing it as we go along. We don't even realize we can change it as we go along.
Conscious living. You can change it as you go along. Start writing the script you want. Write it the way you want it to be. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what people don't realize. You can create the world you live in. You create your own reality.
Absolutely.
You want to live in a negative world where things are awful. That's your
and
creation.
we just eat worms. Yeah, that's your creation.
If that's the world you want to create, because you create your own reality. Everything around there in your life you have put there.
Absolutely.
Nobody else did it. You did it yourself.
Yeah, harsh reality check.
And people are telling me, what do you mean? I didn't put all this stuff in my life, the way the world treats me. But you did. You created it. And once you realize you created it, you can uncreate it.
Or create something different. To me, that makes more sense rather than uncreate it, because that's like an unwinding.
Yeah.
Rather than say, okay, let's just start here and create something else. Create something different. Okay, let that one go and just go do something different. Mm-hmm. It's like getting off one ride and going on another, you know.
But we do create everything in our lives. And once you realize that, the power you have, you have tremendous power. You can have anything you want, absolutely anything, and you can create it because that's the law of the universe. And once you become aware of it, you can create your life. You can have good things, but you're just trotting along and letting the whole universe do it for you.
Well, you're letting everybody else dictate how you're going to be. That's unconscious living again. So,
but you bring in these circumstances to learn from, and if you finally realize it and are tired of it, let's create a positive reality.
Absolutely.
And you can have absolutely anything you want in your life. I mean it. We have done it. We do it all the time.
Oh, and we've just barely scratched the surface of what we can do. You know, I know what we've done, but we haven't done nothing like what we can do. And
but we're finding out it works.
Well, exactly, and I think that just shows us, But what I keep getting is like, if you only knew just how powerful you are, because you were just saying, you know, we're very powerful. We are very powerful. We just won't. It's like that's scary to. I guess some of us are scared
afraid of our own power.
Exactly, afraid of our own power. So that's why it's like we're doing it little bits, and we limit ourselves because we're like, well, I just don't know. So it's like, you know, fear of success as well as all the other stuff. But we are very powerful beings, and that's why remember I told you I got before. We were talking to someone, and they were showing me this visual of how easy it is and will be for us to step into our power. And it was just just like a half step to the side. It's not any major thing we do. It's just like a little shift to the
little nudge.
A little shift to the right. It kept showing me to the right, and it's like you step into your power. It's that easy, and we're that close. and it's step into who you really are and who you want to be and what you want to be and everything. So.
Well, you hit on something when you said sometimes we're afraid of success. Mm-hmm. People are. Mm-hmm. They'd rather stay where they are because they don't know what's going to happen.
I wonder if they're afraid of it being out of control, because that's the feeling I just got. If I did create all these things that I'm wanting to create, it's almost an overwhelming feeling of maybe I couldn't control it. So that's something I'm going to have to deal with myself, because that's probably one of the reasons I sabotage myself is a fear of lack of control, because I'm a control freak. No, I don't have a problem admitting it. I'll have a control freak anonymous here.
Okay. But yeah, a lot of people are afraid of success because it will change their life for one thing, and some of them are very comfortable with what they're doing.
Yeah, but at the same time, they want these things, but maybe it's you want them, but then you're afraid to have them.
For whatever reason.
Right.
But material things are the easiest thing to create. Now, these are laws of the universe that we're talking about. When it's a law of the universe, it has to happen once you understand how it works and how you can manipulate it and use it. I was told the main reason we're here on Earth is to learn to manipulate energy. And energy is, everything is made out of energy, everything. So they said once you learn how to manipulate energy, then you can create, and you can create anything you want. That's the main reason we're here on Earth, is to learn how powerful we are. We can. We can manipulate the energy to have anything we want. Now, physical things are the easiest to create. It's harder to have, they said, emotional things, happiness and stuff like that are a little harder.
Well, they'd be harder if it's a vague thing. If you have something associated with
a concrete thing.
Yeah, if you have something that represents that to you, and that's what you focus on, then that would come through, But it's really the feeling, and so it's whatever do you have that feeling with, so then that's what you would focus on. So.
Okay. But, yes, you can create absolutely anything you want, but the first thing you have to know is you have to know what it is you want. I've had a lot of people tell me that.
Well, again, you open everything up and go, okay, you can have whatever you want. Remember, it's just the same thing. It's like, well, I think I'll just stay back here in my little world, where I'm comfortable. Is all of a sudden, because that's overwhelming. And it's just like saying, okay, here you have access to a supreme being. What do you ask? I don't know. Maybe it's really not that important anymore. And so it's kind of that thing. It's like, I think I'll just shy away, So.
But first you have to know exactly what you want, because it all involves visualization. Everything starts with thought. It starts with a dream. You have to have something that you really want to do. You want to have. You want to attain, whatever. But you have to be able to see it in your mind in detail, minute detail. The more detail you can put into this visual picture, the easier it is to happen.
Right, and we were talking about emotions earlier, and if you can get emotionally involved with the picture, with the image, then that puts you in it. Like you say, you've got the detail because you're seeing it, but get yourself in it. How does it feel? How does it, all of the things about it. If it's a car, maybe smell the new car smell, or feel the wind blowing as you're driving, or.
But you have to, when you're creating it, try to hear things.
Yes.
Smell things. Put as much detail into the picture as you can, and it has to happen because that's the law of the universe. That's how everything is created. You send out the thought, you send out the dream, you send out exactly what you want. It goes into the other dimension where it is tweaked or whatever and made into a reality, then it's brought back.
Right. Yeah, it's already created on the other dimension, and then it just comes back into the... Well, actually, if it's okay if I think it's Abraham, the channeling. What they say is it's manifested over here in this dimension, and it becomes your reality when you raise your vibration to that manifestation. So it's sitting there waiting for you, which is exciting because you realize it's already there. I just have to get myself to where I'm vibrating at the same rate as it is. So it's like, it's already there.
But this is the main thing. First you have to know what you want. Now, see, that's one of the things. That's why material things, money and all of that is so easy to attain, because one of the laws of the universe is the law of abundance, which means there will always be enough for everybody.
For anything that you need.
You don't have to be worried about taking money or things away from anybody else. There will always be enough for everyone. But first you got to know what you want and be able to create it. Now, another thing... When you create this, don't worry about how you're going to get it. Some people say, well, I got to do this and this and this to get this thing. No, because...
That's not your job.
If you do that, you are limiting them. And by them, these are the ones, your guides, your guardian angels.
It's the universe. You put it out there. Remember, it's already created on this other level. So now it's got to figure out how to get to your level. And... that's done through various things. And if you start, like you said, if you start putting rules and regulations on it, you greatly limit it, and you probably are going to sabotage it. So, or definitely make it take a whole lot longer than what it could take.
But you have to visualize whatever it is you want, object, job, whatever it is, you visualize it as already done. You see it as accomplished. You see the goal, what it is you want.
You see the end objective.
The end objective, that's a good way to put it, of what it is you want, what it is you desire, and fill it full of minute details. And then don't sit back. I've had some people say, well, then I'm going to have to do this and this and this to get it. No, let that part go.
You will get guidance. I mean, if you feel, if something comes up and it's like, okay, you need to do this, well, then do it. I mean, that's your guidance coming in. There's going to be steps that you may need to do or take. Well, that's fine. You do those at those points. But you don't sit here at this end going, okay, this, and this has to happen in order for my end objective. It's like, and one of the things I like to say, which kind of, I guess, reinforces to myself my faith, is like, I don't know how you're going to do it. This is what needs to get done. And, surprise me.
That's what we always say all the time. Because if you're going to figure out this is what I got to do, you are limiting them. And when it happens, it'll happen in ways you can't possibly imagine. The things they do, because that's what we do now in our business and everything, in our careers. We just say, okay, guys, here's the next project. And if we have a time limit, we'll say it has to be done by this time. I don't know how you're going to do it, but here it is, do it.
Right.
And then we sit back and watch the magic.
Right.
And it is magic the way it happens.
Yeah, and it's actually fun to sit back and watch because you think it's going to go point A to point B to get to C. Not necessarily. It might go zigzagging and then go loop-de-looping and all this kind of stuff to get to point C, D, E, and F or something. I don't know, but it's like just sit back and just know all along it's going. I don't know what you're doing now, but I know you're going over here to this end objective that I have put out here. And just watch it. It's fun to see all the zigzags it takes, and don't question. I mean, don't start doubting.
No, you never doubt.
Don't doubt. No. Just trust. Trust that it's on its way to the point. So, if I can interject, one of the things I noticed when I was manifesting my house.
Yeah.
Actually, both houses that I did this with, but this one I really noticed it. It was really conscious when I was doing it. I was getting it all figured. It was all moving and everything. Everything was happening. Found the house. I mean, they dropped it in my lap, and all this stuff was happening. And then we were just trying to get the financing. Okay, that was moving, and then all of a sudden everything just stopped. And I was just so frustrated, and I kept trying to find different ways of getting the financing. And it was just like all this. And I'm going, what on earth? I was so anxious, and I was going crazy trying to, why isn't this happening? Why isn't this happening? Then I looked at myself. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This is my creation. What am I doing? And this is kind of like co-creating or create whatever, 102. We were doing 101. Now we're doing 102, okay?
Oh, okay.
And I looked at myself, and I realized I was having questioning thoughts. I was starting to wonder if I could afford the house and if I could handle this new responsibility, and going down thoughts like that. So, see, I was questioning my own creation, myself, and so it made everything stop.
You were putting some blocks up.
Yes. Well, once I realized that, then it was like, well, wait a minute. If I can create this, and if it's given to me, there will also be a way for me to afford it, be given to me. All the things that I will need will also be there. And so that's what I started, I kept reassuring that, reaffirming that. Bam, 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 bam. It all started moving again. It all happened really quickly. But I had to get me straight. So that's one of it. If your creations aren't, if they're hitting roadblocks or whatever, look at yourself.
Look within. Look inside, because that's where you're the creator, and look at yourself.
Absolutely. You are creating everything. Nobody's doing it to you. Nobody's mucking up the works. You are, because of something you're thinking. So go within and figure it out. It's self-doubt, probably. So,
well, like she was saying a while ago, this whole thing of letting them handle it and sit back and watch, that's so much easier than sitting around worry. How am I going to get the money to do this? How am I going to be able to afford it? How am I going to make it happen? Then you're worrying. it's so much easier to just give it over to them and say, okay, guys. Yeah. And then it becomes fun.
Well, it does, and that's another thing I noticed. Money's flowing and it's all going, everything, then all of a sudden maybe something comes in, it's a little overwhelming, and it's like, oh my God, or money will start getting tight and stuff, and I was going, oh my God, what's going on, and I realize I'll realize my body signs are like, so right now I'm clenching my fists, and that's usually what I'm doing at the point, I'm getting anxious, and I'm tensing up. Well, what happens when you do that? The energy isn't flowing, so what you have to do is you open your hands and just go, and let yourself relax. That lets that energy move again, and guess what? Every time I do that, all of a sudden that money starts moving again. I mean, it's like I won't know where it's going to come from. It just starts moving, and it's all. But every single time, if it starts getting tight, it's me clamping down. So these are important.
This is what happens with our company.
Yes, absolutely.
And we usually have a deadline. We have to have a certain amount of money by a certain date. Publishing books is expensive.
Yes.
I'll tell you that.
Yes.
And it used to be worry. But now, the one thing wrong, it'll usually come up right to the day.
To the penny to the day.
And it will always give us exactly what we need. And I say, guys, couldn't you pad it a little bit?
Well, that's what we're going to, I think that's going to be co-creating 103 or 4 or 5 or something. We're going to pad it.
They say, you're giving it to us, but they said, well, this is what you asked for. This is what we're giving you.
Exactly.
But it'll come in, you start getting a little anxious, but it'll come in exactly at the right time.
Yes. But again, it's by not being anxious about it, not being tight in your energy field. You open your hands and you relax with it, and it flows. So if you're having a tight spell out there and you don't know where that money's coming from, let go of it. Let loose. Let your hands open up and just feel it. You'll feel immediately when you do that, you'll feel an ease and a flow of energy. And as soon as you do that, you say, I don't know where it's coming from, but I know I'm okay. And it all flips around.
See, your guides and guardian angels are there to help you. That's their job. But they say they can't help you if you don't ask for assistance. So they're some of the ones we bring in sometimes, too. And all you have to do is ask, and they'll do miracles for you. But here again, it is just sometimes just exactly what you want.
But let's go back to those statements. It's already there. We already created it. It's on this other level. So it's just sitting there waiting for us to match it in vibration. So start thinking in equality to whatever it is. If it's that money or whatever, think yourself in equality with it. You're on the same vibration, and it will be immediately in your sight.
Well, one of the things that's come out in my sessions, one woman wanted to ask them during the session, why can't I hold on to money? Money is energy, like everything else is energy. And they said, you're not supposed to hold on to it. It's supposed to come and go. Once you realize that, that's what you're saying. Release it and just let it happen.
Well, it's the release of the energy, of the thought of it, because it's like, it's like you feel like you can hang, but I'm not hanging on to anything here, but I am to that energy of it, because if I get tense, it stops the flow of the energy of the money. Yeah. And so, it's like let go of that need to hold on to it. It doesn't mean go out and go crazy spending money. I mean, it might. I don't know, but you'll be guided as to what to do.
Whatever you learn from that.
But sometimes it does mean, go ahead and donate something, maybe just a little, just to show that you're confident in the flow of money to you. I know I can give this because I know I'll get it back tenfold. So it's okay. Tenfold. Yes.
But some examples, I had a friend who wanted a certain car. And she wrote all these things down. It helps if you can have a picture, too. Put on your refrigerator or whatever it is you want, and you can look at it every day. She knew the car she wanted. She knew the year. She knew the model. She even had the color. She wanted a yellow car. She had the price, everything exactly the way she wanted to have this car. So she created it, and she got her car. But she left out one little thing.
What was that?
It didn't run.
Oh. You would think that would be a given.
Well, that's what I mean about every little tiny detail.
Well, that might be why it's important to see yourself driving the car with the wind blowing through your hair.
And that it is running.
Yes.
But see, sometimes you got to think of all these little details. And another woman, here we're going to the emotional things, wanted a man in her life.
Yeah.
And she wrote down all of the wonderful qualities of what she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of a personality she wanted, what he looked like. He was going to be good to her. He would have the same interests. She wrote down all of the things that everything about him that she wanted. She created her man. And then she put it out into the universe and was waiting to see what would happen. Well, yeah, she found the man. Problem was he was married.
Mm.
So she said, okay, I got to go back to my drawing board again and do it again.
Yeah.
So this time she put down single.
Yeah.
And all of her
or available or something.
all the qualifications.
Mm-hmm.
So she got her second man. He was 10 years younger than her. But she said, that's okay, I can live with that.
Yeah.
So you have to be exact on what it is you want.
Right. You have to know. Otherwise you're just taking whatever gets thrown. It's like being in a restaurant. If you can't tell the server exactly what it is you would like to eat, you say, oh, just give me something that's good. Well, see, that's the unconscious living. But, you don't have any right to complain about it once you get it because you didn't specify. And just like many of us will be very specific about what we order. I mean, we will go down to the nth detail. I want it cooked this way with only, whatever. Do it the same way. You know what you want. You know what feels good to you. So do it that way.
We learned that in Russia.
About ordering?
And we didn't know what we were getting. But that's the thing. You have to have it exactly as what you want.
Well, I read that in a book one time where they said we don't have any problem ordering in a restaurant. Why do we have a problem ordering for our life? And it's really, get it down to that basic thing. This is your life and you're ordering for it. Do what you want. What is it you really want? You're the one that's responsible for it.
If you want a job, see yourself doing that job.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's two restrictions on when you're creating that you have to be careful of so you won't create karma.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, two restrictions when you create anything. You never create anything that's going to harm anyone.
Right.
It always must be for the positive, because everything you send out is going to come back to you tenfold.
So you don't want to take away from anyone.
Yeah, I was going to say that next.
First, that's number 2?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought okay.
First one is you don't do anything to harm anyone. The second one is you never take away from anybody else. If you want a job, you don't put out there, this person's going to be fired so I can get their job.
Or another way, I wouldn't even say, you just don't say, I want that job, because then it might be that person gets fired for you to get that job.
That's not good.
You're not necessarily saying, I want that person to be fired so I can have that job. You may be saying and thinking quite innocently, I want that job. But then not realizing, well, in order for you to have that job, that person has to be removed. So your better solution would be...
Well, what usually happens is a job is created just for you. There wasn't a job there before.
Right.
And you've had that happen in your own life.
Yes, I have.
Uh-huh.
Or another thing might be that, like you said, for the highest good, it could be that job might be the right one for you, but that person gets elevated to a better position for them for you to have it, too. So whatever it is, it's for everybody's highest good.
Yeah.
And
so you don't want to ever use the power of your mind to harm anyone or to take away from anybody else.
I was thinking your second one was going to be like when you're working on something with getting someone in your life, you don't attach a person to it.
No,
because that creates
I want
karma.
that man,
right.
Or I want that woman.
Right, because everybody has free will, and so you put the characteristics out there, and then the best person that fits all of that is who enters in, who steps up to bat, rather than saying, I want that specific person. Well, it may not be in their free will.
Maybe they don't.
Exactly.
Want you.
Exactly. And then you're creating all kinds of imbalances and everything by doing that. And it may not be the best person for you, and
so this is powerful stuff once you learn how to use it, and your mind is powerful enough you can have anything you want. It's a law of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
But just be careful how you use it, just like anything, any power.
Mm-hmm.
Be careful the way you send it out.
Well, intent. Intent goes out ahead of you, and if you always have the highest intent or the best intent of the highest good, that always goes out ahead of you. And so that way you don't have to get all freaky about, am I doing it right, doing it wrong. Your intent tells the whole story. So,
you don't want to have a lot of money just for greed.
Well, you have it for whatever it is you want it for. I mean, yeah, if you've got to deal with yourself on the whys and wherefores of it. We're just dealing with co-creation right now.
Yeah. But that's why you got to examine yourself anyway. But that's why I tell people material things are the easiest thing for you to get. You just have to look at it that way. Use the power of your mind, be able to visualize what you want, see it, see people in the picture, see them talking, hear things, see things happening. Mm-hmm. This makes it come alive.
Right, movement and everything. Mm-hmm.
And then you put it out, and it has to happen, and it will.
And that's the other thing that you keep saying is, this must happen. This must happen. See, that's showing you're trusting the universe to give it to you. Again, I don't know how you're going to do it, but I know you're going to do it, and then I'm going to stand back and watch, see what you do. Those are all ways that you are trusting the whole process.
Then you don't go back and say, well, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? I put it out. Mm-hmm. You just release it, let it go, and allow it to happen.
Yeah, because you can actually kill it by constantly checking on it.
Yeah, they said that's doubt.
Yes, absolutely.
When you do that, just release it and then sit back. Then when it comes, it's going to be a surprise.
Yeah, just know it's done. Know you have it and be excited.
Okay, well, we're coming to the time now that we're going to have to leave again. That went kind of fast. I never know what we're going to talk about, but that's the way it went tonight.
That's always a fun topic.
Yeah, it is. And I think a lot of you, this might help you. All right, but if anybody wants to know anything about our schedules, speaking schedules, the classes that are coming up, our next class is going to be in Hawaii in February.
Right.
And we're going to have one in Arkansas in March. All of our schedules, April. We're doing something else in March.
Yeah.
But everything that's going to be happening is on our website. And if you want to know about sessions, if you want to know about the books, the name of the company is Ozark Mountain Publishing, and it's abbreviated on our website. So it's OZARKMT.com. Or if you're overseas, it's OZARKMT.com. Or call the office at 1-800-935-0045.
Another website that works is DoloresCannon.com. Either spelling.
Okay. All right. So good night, everybody, and Merry Christmas.
Create a great one. Good night.
If you enjoyed the show, check out more of our other videos and be sure to subscribe and click the like button. Thank you for listening to the Metaphysical Hour with Dolores Cannon.